So I'm here with comedian Tim Brehmer. How you doing
Yes,
today?
sir. I'm doing.
Man, you're a comedian. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow, like what was it like
Yeah.
up in Cleveland?
God, it was terrible because it was like right at like the opioid epidemic, and like the Cleveland Clinic had laid off like 5,000 people. So like going out for like bartending jobs, you were going up against doctors and nurses. I'm like, of course you're gonna hire them. I'm a moron compared to these guys. They're literally doctors. And I was working at a GameStop, and then I worked at a mail review. I was a dancer, kind of like Magic Mike. And I was like, this is gonna be a great chapter in my autobiography, but like, and it's also great in my resume too. It's always funny when you say dance and they're like, oh, like ballet. I'm like, no, like Magic Mike. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, it's one of those weird, quirky things that I knew how to do. And then I went through something called IMTA, International Model and Talent Association. It's like a big convention. Like you go in front of a bunch of agents. And like before I even started the competitions, I had an agent come up to like, I want to sign you. I was like, sold. I don't even care if you believe me yet. I just need that first foot in the door. You know what I mean? Like I just needed that oomph to leave because I mean, in the winter, we invented Netflix and chill, but it was usually Blockbuster and chill. And, we were kind, we'd rewind. But like, other than that, during the winter, there's nothing to do. And it's like 9 months of winter. And I'd rather be pursuing something that I love, being comedy, acting, where it's sunny all the time and I'm warm. So
So how long before you moved to Los Angeles?
I've been here about 10 years. So 2013, I came out here, October 2013.
Definitely. And what was your experience of it? Because like, being from the Midwest, like I'm from the Midwest too, like so I'm from Chicago, like,
Oh,
LA.
nice.
So what were you
It
doing?
was
Like,
it was definitely a culture shock because like I'm not gonna lie, like if I had a reality show, I'd be bigger than the Kardashians because like the weirdest shit happens to me. Like when we were moving here, I was moving here with my ex, and like she was 5'4", so she packed the driver's seat to her height. I'm 6 foot, so I literally was like driving like this, and like I was going through Arizona, and like I got to pull over. I was doing 100, and he comes up, and the cop's looking at me, and he goes, "Can you get out?" And I went, "I don't think I'll be able to get back in though." He goes, "Slow it down." And I was like, "I'm just moving to LA." He goes, "All right, get out of here," and like we took off. But like as I was moving into my apartment in Koreatown, there was this homeless guy that was very obviously deceased. And I called 911. They're like, yeah, we've got multiple calls. I went, multiple calls? I'm like, it's like 92 degrees outside and dead people fart. I don't know if you know that, like just FYI, like it's going to smell. And they're like, no, we'll get them. And I was like, oh, what is this? And then like, it was definitely a culture shock because like, from the Midwest, we really don't tolerate anything, but you know exactly who you're talking to when you're talking to them because they tell you their feelings that are in here. They're coming out here at you. Out here in LA, they're like, oh no, that might hurt their feelings. I'm like, tell me, hurt my feelings. I like it. I'm weird and sadistic. I don't know. But it's very different, but it's also very culturally humbling, if you will, because you have a lot of fusion out here, which I love the fusion food. So it definitely opens up your eyes because being from the Midwest, like we don't really see a lot of ethnic diversity, if you will. You know what I mean? So it was nice in that sense to get that worldly view to see what everybody else is like, but LA is also kind of the worst place to learn it too. So
yeah,
you pick and choose your battles. So
definitely. And did you start performing stand up like right away or?
no, I was like pursuing comedy, and then like I was at my acting studio, Leslie Kahn, and she my log line from my casting director, she goes, "You are Channing Tatum's frat brother who lives in a van down by the river." And I went, "That's me. That's on the nose, exactly who I am. Like I'm a fit Chris Farley." And like someone was like, "Why don't you go do stand up?" And I went, "All right." And I didn't like research it really. I literally Googled like open mic, and it was at the Haha at the North Hollywood Haha Cafe. I can't even talk. And I walked in, and like I did 10 minutes, and like I invited like 20 people, but like 10 showed up, and they
Uh-huh.
were surprised. They were like surprised by that. I was like, "You guys don't like go out and talk to people?" Like they're like, "Are they all your friends?" I'm like, "No, some of them are strangers that like I'll just entertain." And they're like, "Are you a stand-up comic?" I'm like, "Well, funny enough, I have a show this weekend." And they're like, "All right, I'll come see you." And I'm like, "Isn't that the whole way you promote yourself?" Apparently I'm weird. But like then I was open for this guy, and he goes, "Hey, do you want to open for me at the Comedy Store?" And I was like, "Yeah." I didn't know that was like going from like JV football to the NFL. Like I
Yeah.
walked down to the comics den because I'm a comic. I don't know any better. And there's Joe Rogan talking with a bunch of people, and he just goes, "Stop! Bathrooms are upstairs." And I went, I actually think I'm opening up for you. And he goes, "Oh, come on in here." I was like, "Nah, you're much bigger in person, man. I'm gonna go play tag in traffic." And he started laughing. I was like, "I'm not going back down there. There's no way out up those stairs, and I am not as fit as I think I am to get away from him. So I'm just gonna stay up here for a while." And then it just kind of stuck. Like it was weird because everyone always told me I told great stories and this and that. I should be a writer, but they never mentioned stand up. And I grew up loving, Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall. I mean, God, even like the Blues Brothers, Tommy Boy. They all told me it was okay to be who I was because I was the weird kid growing up. And Robin Williams was the first one to show that to me. But like to be able to share that stage that they had also once been on was one of the most humbling moments of my life because I had someone come up to me afterwards and I was joking with him. And this dude looked like a white Shrek. I mean, he was like 6'8", like he had a vest on, no shirt, obviously, because what do you care when you're a giant? And like I'm joking with him and he's sitting like this the entire show. And I'm like, I'm gonna get you to a point where I'm gonna have you red in the face. I had him making dolphin noises and I was like, "Are you okay? Because if I kill you, honestly, I'll be a legend. Because if I kill someone laughing, like that's gotta be the best way to go." Like, and then afterwards, I'm joking with people, and I don't know if you've ever been to the Comedy Store, but when you
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
out by the Comedy Store sign and then you turn to leave, I'm right there. My back is turned to everybody that's walking out, and I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I went, "I feel diarrhea forming in my stomach," and I was like, that hand was too high and too heavy for him to know his own strength, and I turn around and I'm staring at this man's boobs, and I just looked up and I went, "Good God, you are taller than a person's supposed to be." And he starts laughing with me and he goes, "My wife died." And I went, "Please tell me I didn't say any dead wife jokes." And he started laughing again. He goes, "No, I didn't find the world funny anymore. And you were the first person to talk to me." I was like, "Well, you look so approachable with your teardrop tattoos that you have and your outgoing personality." He then pats me on the head like a dog that didn't pee on the carpet when you went to work and walked away. And I've never seen this man since then. And it was kind of a click for me where it was like, I have my depression, I have my problems, and the way that I deal with that is by performing stand up. Like I only aim for one person in the crowd to make them laugh, and I usually aim for the person that's having the worst day because
You have
given
like
that,
you have a gift because like even talking to you over Zoom and stuff and everything, you bring joy to my day. I
oh
noticed
man, I
like
appreciate
the SAG after strike, you're doing the Mandalorian thing, like
it.
important, and bringing joy to people that way. Like, how
Yeah.
did it come about?
So, oh God. So, like I said, if I had a reality show, I'd be bigger than the Kardashians. I swear to you, any reality producers will call it buckle up because you're never gonna like understand what happens to me on a daily basis. So back in 2019 of like December when they were like COVID's gonna kill everybody, I was like, I want an electric skateboard. If I'm gonna die, I want an electric skateboard. And like I've had two of them, and like she may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts because I've been hit quite a few times. And my PR people tell me that like, remember, kids, Timmy's a professional idiot. Don't do this shit at home, okay? It doesn't tickle when you play tag in traffic. But I digress. So like the first time I was taking it out, I went on the Lancashire because I used to live right in Toluca Lake. And I was turning left on the Lancashire and I hear, woo! And I'm like looking for the car that he's trying to pull over. And I hear pull the skateboard over. And this was before I did the Mando thing. And then I was like, should I remain in the vehicle at all times? Hands at 10 and 2. I was like, I'm on a skateboard, you idiot. And he goes, you need a brain bucket in case you die. And I went, that's the dumbest thing I've heard all day. Why do I need a helmet if I'm already dead? And his partner is trying not to laugh. And I see someone go by in a lime. And I went, why aren't you pulling them over? And he goes, well, that's a scooter. And I went, I see why I'm not a detective. Don't take the exam. I know why you're going to fail. And he goes, if you ride this again without a helmet, I'm going to give you a ticket. And I went, all right. I was like, you and my dad made a very, 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 very fatal flaw. You didn't say safety helmet. You just said helmet. So when I made this is the helmet that I usually wear. I had to paint it because we did a Star Wars video thing, but like I made it out of foam. So when he pulled me over again, he goes, that's not how I saw you do it in my head. I was like, it's funny. You and my dad said that my entire life. We have more in common than you think. And I really want to say like I built it because like some kid was like, do the rest of the armor. No, I learned his route and I would just wave at him every day as I slowly added more and more to the armor, which I was doing like 2 to 3 times a day. And then like what? And I cut too, but like when we were striking, I ran into Mayor Constantine, who actually we become friends.
Yeah,
And he
he's
goes,
pretty
"I want
cool.
you."
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. He goes, "Oh, you're the skateboard." He goes, "I want you to know we used to have weekly meetings about you skateboarding in traffic." I was like, "Only weekly?" Like I figured it was daily. I was like, "You guys pulled me over so many times." He goes, "They did." I went, "They pulled me over when I'm full Mando." And I've heard them like, "Mando, pull it over." I'm like, legally, they're like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" I was like, "Because I'm an illegal alien. Because my child doesn't look like yours." They're like, "Oh, dipshit, you went through a red light." I'm like, "Space pirate, bitch." And they're like, "Just get out of here, man." I had one cop. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I spit out my pills and I'm going on an adventure." He's like, "Just don't hurt anybody. Just go. Just go." And then like they finally just stopped because they realized I'm just doing it to make people laugh. But one cop was very aggressive with me and was like, "You can't ride this in the street." I was like, "Well, it goes over 12 miles an hour, so I can't legally ride it on the sidewalk and it doesn't fly. So how do I operate it?"
That's
And
hilarious.
he's just looking at me. And I love getting people to that point where they're like, "No, just go away." Like I love that because they're never gonna forget me. And then like I've had a lot of ups and downs with it, but a lot more ups, you know. But
I
I've
guess
been doing
something crazy happened to you at Comic-Con?
oh, buckle up. Okay, hold on. I need a sip of my tea first. All right. So the day before Comic Con, Thursday, Friday, we at 4 p.m. we can pick up our passes, and then you can go have a little half day, and then Saturday is usually when everybody gets there. So I'm just touching up my armor in the morning. And now some people when they wake up in the morning, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go eat healthy," or they're like, "Bing, I'm gonna go work out." Apparently, when I wake up, I'm like, "I want to fight crime like Batman," because my neighbor calls me and goes, "There's some guy staring at my children through our window." And I was like, "Of course," I'm just running out the door. I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm going this way now." It's been a weird thing of mine that my grandfather always instilled in me, where he goes, "Timmy, there's people that watch bad things that happen, and there's people that stop bad things from happening." And I guess today you can say that of like people that film bad things from happening and people that stop bad things from happening. I've never been the director type, you know what I mean? So I go running down there. She's on the phone with 911. I was like, "Is this him?" She goes, "Yeah." I was like, "You're not going anywhere." He goes, "I'm not going back to jail." I was like, "You're going to the hospital if you want to throw hands." And guess which option he chose? He then looks me dead in the eyes because I was like, "Why are you looking at 5 children dancing around in their diapers to children's music?" And he goes, "Because I like kids." And like me, myself, and Irene clicked in my head where he's like, "It's the wrong thing to fucking say to me, you fucking idiot." Like now I can't hold back because you don't touch kids in my eyes. Because while I've been doing this Mando thing, I have 13 kids that I've made like foundlings. I've made helmets for no charge. It's either they catch me in some weird interaction where they're like, "Oh, I love your content," and then I get their parents' info, and I was like, "I'm gonna make you guys a helmet," and then like they've all made videos for me, and like so like I 3D print all of them. So it cost me next to nothing to make them. So and plus I make them individual to each kid. But in my eyes, you protect kids at all costs, and that's another reason why I do love the Mandalorian because they're foundlings first, and foundling is your children that are a part of your group, and they're always you take care of the foundlings, you take care of the foundlings, and I just snapped, and this guy went to lunge at me, and I gave him what I can only describe as, I mean, I was excessive, but I don't really care.
Yeah, he
Like you don't,
deserved it. I think like
yeah.
anyone's gonna see you as a hero, like pedophiles
Oh,
deserve no mercy.
none. But like, there's the difference because I had to have a conversation with myself, and like, this is a part for another podcast. Like, I swear to God, we could have podcasts on what's wrong with me. Like, at least that's what my therapist says. Like, multiple chapters, because like, I had to have a conversation with myself because this dude, like, I don't know if you've ever been to fight like from the Midwest, but like, you can feel when someone's got power, and like, it's just unrelenting energy. And I'm like, am I a bitch? Like, am I this fat and out of shape that I can't take care of this little Cisco homeless looking fuck? And then like the cops get there and I had him in a full headlock, and I had to have a discussion of whether I broke his neck or not. And the left side of my brain was like 15 degrees, 35 pounds of pressure. And the right side of my brain was like, "But do you have to kill him?" And I was like, "I don't have to shit in the toilet, it's just socially acceptable, but I get your point." Like the difference between like shooting somebody and like stabbing somebody is that you're not the instrument. But that's a personal way where like I still can't watch American History X. Okay, when he puts his teeth on the curb,
Oh yeah, that's
noises like that, especially because like I have mesothenia, they haunt me forever
yeah.
because I will remember the exact noise.
That's a haunting scene.
It is. And like, I also was like, I didn't wake up today thinking I was gonna have to kill a pedophile, but like, I didn't get that tarot card. Yeah, thanks for that, universe reading. So then the cops show up, and like, I eventually had to let go because like he was turning purple. I broke 2 of his ribs because I had him in a full. And now, mind you, hearing this story, you're probably like, you're high on meth, you're fucking crazy. This didn't happen. I have receipts. It's all on my Instagram and my TikTok. You'll see it. Where like finally the weird shit that happens to me gets caught on tape because it never ever does. And like they sent, my neighbor sent to me, was like, "Oh, you beat a child molester? Yeah, here you go. Here's the video." And he sent me the video. I was like, "Wow." I was yeah. But then the cop comes running up after I had him restrained, and I was like, "Don't run into me to look like the cool guy." And he's running straight face like the Terminator, just running at me. And he goes, "Let go." And I went, "What do you want me to let go of?" He goes, "Of everything." I was like, "All right." And I went like this, and I stood up, and what the other cop is like, "What are you doing?" I was like, I don't, honestly, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what's wrong with me. And like, I don't even know where to start. And he goes, "Put your hands down." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then they were like, "Oh, like, did you know, how did the guy say it to me?" He goes, "Hey, if you found out he was like a child molester," because I explained what happened. He goes, what would stop you?" And I was like, "You see the 6 cops that are standing right here?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I went, "None of you could stop me from getting to him." And he just was like, "All right, we're going to put him in the ambulance now." And they were like, he was on parole for child endangerment, which that's a broad category, and CP, which I probably won't be able to say on most platforms, but you get what I'm talking about. And I was just like, oh, I knew I should have just, because at least he's going back to jail for 6 years, but I'm also like, kids are safe for at least 6 years, but they could have been safe forever. So it was a little bit of a thing. And then the one cop looks at me, and if I didn't have this on video, I swear to you, he looks me dead in the eyes, goes, "You know, we're hiring, right?" And I went, I just viciously beat this man. I was like, wait a minute. That's the LAPD way. And they laughed. And I was like, you guys should not laugh at that joke. That should not be funny to you at all. Like, you should be like, "You're going to jail for that joke." Like, it was so ridiculous. But then they offered it to me 2 more times. Okay. Twice total. So then I'm like, you know what? That's weird enough. I'm going home. That's it. I call my therapist, and she's like, "Tim, you make life interesting." I was like, you know what? I should be charging you because this is ridiculous. Like, remember that chapter on Mom? We can pause on that one for a bit. We need to open one where I think I'm a vigilante, which my street made me a shirt that says, oh, I guess it'll give away where I live, but like, you'll see where I live on the thing anyway. But it says VHV, it's Valley Heart Vigilante, and I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm straight. I'm white. The media will have a field day with me if I'm calling myself a vigilante. Don't just stay village idiot. That's even better. But then like my therapist says like the one thing that like kind of calmed me down, because one of my best friends is in jail. He got a 16-year sentence because he involuntarily killed somebody. He got into a fight. He punched the guy. The guy had a brain aneurysm. Yeah. There's so much more to it, but like I'm very much sugarcoating it. So that plays in my head every time that there's a fight that happens, where I'm like, is it really worth it? Like, is my life in danger? Is my life in danger, or is my feelings hurt? Like, what's really happening here? You know? And she said that 10-year-old me would feel safe and proud of who I became. I'm like, you're goddamn right. He'd be safe and fucking proud of me. You fuck, I'd be safe too. And then I'm like, all right, that's crazy enough. And I kid you not, I swear, I just glue one piece of my armor, and I hear a loud boom. And I went, what now? I then go outside of my main door, and there's a homeless guy, and everyone's like, can't say homeless, fine, urban camper. And they're like, how do you know he's homeless? I'm like, well, because of his cologne, you know, dog piss on a hot summer day, you know. Yeah. But he was swinging a hammer at me the week prior. And I was like, what the fuck, man? And then my neighbor comes out and says he stole her laundry. So I'm like, well, now you're definitely not going anywhere. Now it's nighttime. This is 4 hours. This all happened in the same day before Comic-Con. And all I wanted to do was go to Comic-Con. And then he takes out a mason jar and goes, you want me to get you a gasoline? I went, that's probably piss. And that little voice in the back of your head was like, are you sure? Because we woke up thinking we were playing chess, when it turns out we're playing Uno. And I didn't get those reverse cards with the child molester and then this. He then tries to splash me with it. So I like jump back, and I was like, oh, that was close. Then all of a sudden, move, buddy. Then all of a sudden, he smashes it on the ground and lights a 40-foot area inferno. And on my mother's grave, I audibly went, nuh-uh. Like, what the fuck? I'm on the Truman Show. All of you are actors, and you're lying to me. Like, this, there's no way. You can't even script this.
Right.
You can't even, and you can't even
Wow.
script. I couldn't even make this up in my wildest, highest giraffe pussy dreams. Like nothing. And then most people, when they see fire, they're like, oh, I don't want to get burned. I apparently hear Mortal fucking Kombat because I ran through the middle of it and I heard my neighbor go, I got your back. And I went, oh, thank God I don't have to do this alone. Then his eyes were, I mean, I've done security since I've been 18. I've done nightclub security. I've done personal security. I don't care how big, how tall. The only people in this world that scare me is when their eyes are fully dilated, because
Right.
there's no reasoning with them. Like this is now Thunderdome, and this is two men enter, one man leave, Master Blaster. Like, you want to play that game, I'll fucking play it. And like the movie Batman played in my head. Not fighting crime, not any of that, but I was like, all right, universe, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Like, I'll show you nuts. And I ran through that fire, and he went from instantly going like, you want some to, and I just went, oh, and I just, my hand, it's just now kind of healing. Like, you can kind of see it, but like I had scrapes, and as you can see, I didn't get hit once, but he wouldn't produce his hands. He went down like this, and I had his hair back, and I went, produce your hands. And I was like, apparently I live in Grand Theft Auto because homeless people have Molotov cocktails, and like he might have a bazooka. I don't fucking know. Like, and I hit him 3 times, and then he went, Jesus, is that you? And I went, open up your hands. And he put his hands up. And I was like, nah. And like, if you look at the picture of me, I'm like this on the ground, just, nope, this didn't happen to me. I'm sleeping. This is all a dream. Took the cops 32 minutes to show up. That doesn't include the 10 minutes for me fighting with them, because it's 32 minutes when the first call goes out. They eventually showed up, and they like, and they get out of their car walking. I'm like, no, take your time. I've done the whole job. Don't worry about it. And then afterwards he goes, hey, we're hiring. I was like, yeah, I heard, man. I heard. And like, it happened just like that. And I couldn't even write that line with the comic timing, because then the paramedic comes up and goes, did you ask him yet? And the cop's like, no. And he goes, what'd you hit him with? I was like, my fist. And the paramedic goes, yeah. My neighbor goes, yeah, he hit him 6 times. It was only 6 times. And the paramedic goes, Jesus. And I was like, why? He goes, this whole side, gone. He goes, if you would have hit him 1 or 2 more times, his brain bucket probably would have opened up. I was like, you're right. I probably would not have been able to handle that. So I'm now laughing and crying like the Joker. Like, I'm like, like my neighbors had to come out with a fire extinguisher to put out the 40-foot inferno that I ran through barefoot. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, I can't even describe to people with English words what is wrong with me, because most people just run away. They're like, oh, I'll deal with it another day. I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere.
Did you make it at Comic-Con?
Yeah, I did make it to Comic-Con. I was so tired because like I went home and I was like rocking back and forth in the shower, just like hot water burn, baby. Hot water, because everything comes in threes. Everything. There's deaths. If I could think of more examples, I'll fucking think of more. But I was just like, this third one's gonna be called Buckle Up, because I'm gonna stop like a terrorist plot. Next thing I know, I'm John McClane. I don't even know. And my girlfriend joked me, he's like, because I had to take the subway downtown dressed as Mando. She's like, what if there's like a bomb that you have to? I was like, no, I'm not Batman. I'm neither John McClane. I am the Mandalorian. That's it. But I had fun. I wish I had slept a little bit more, because I probably would have been able to enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah.
But one of the security guards that didn't work for Comic-Con, mind you, Comic-Con was beautiful with me. That they invite me because I skateboard around, and I've done it for the past 2 years. I've never hit anybody. Like, I go slow. If it's too crowded, I carry it. Like, I'm not a bougie bitch with it, if you will. Like, I could throw the weight around and be like, oh, I got the 200,000 TikTok. I don't, that's not me. That's not who I am. And the security guy was like, I've worked here for 4 years. I haven't seen you. I was like, well, apparently you're Helen Keller, because I'm pretty hard to miss. Like, I'm silver and I ride a skateboard, which makes me 6'4". And when I move, I don't go up and down. Like, it's not hard to miss me, man. So then he's like, you got to get off of it. And I was like, all right, you look like a homeless Viking, kind of like like a Down syndrome, Mr. Clean, if you will. And I was like, all right, man, like 2 guys already tried it. And I don't want to make you a Jeff Dunham puppet, but I will. So I got off of it, and like Comic-Con was like the next day, like, we are so sorry about this. And like, I didn't want to ruin my relationship with Comic-Con. So like the next day, they're like, skateboard around as much as you want on Saturday. I was like, sold. Comic-Con told me to. I have it in an email. So I went around like every security guard, like, ha ha ha. They probably have no idea why I'm flicking them off after I went around them in the circle. Like, I'm just mentally screwing them up. Like, why'd the Mandalorian flick me off and like go away? Like, he didn't even say anything. He just went, ha ha, and then left. And it's funny to me. But
That's
yeah, like I
hilarious.
said, we can
No,
have
I
podcasts.
saw your dedication at the SAG after strike. You were out there, man, like almost like every day. Like I see you sweating buckets, you know.
Oh,
You know what?
it helps me keep the dad bod off, you know.
Okay, okay. What was your favorite moment of the SAG strike?
Oh God, there were so many of them. Like, because it was so long, it's hard to like, because I was there from the writer strike in March. So
Wow.
like, even though I'm an actor and a stand-up comic, like I know most of the writers because they live in Burbank, and that's where I've been doing Mando. So like they know me, and then they were bringing their kids to the strike. And let's be honest, there's nothing fun about walking a circle in like 100-degree heat. Like we would rather be working, you know. And with the kids, I just try to bring a little joy to them. Like I wish I had some around me, but like one of my 3D printers, like I printed something like this, like a little owl, but they're like Mandalorian rings that I print out and I hand them out to everybody. And like the cool for me moments are when like Will Wheaton came up to me, like
Yeah.
Will Wheaton, like Stand By Me, Star Trek Next Generation comes up and loses his mind. He's like, I've seen you so many times and I love you. I was like, I don't know how to handle today. What is going on? I was like, what is real? And then John, I really hope I'm saying it. John Ross Bowie, he plays Barry Kripke on The Big Bang Theory. So I was just going to Ralph's dressed as Mando, and I was like, on your left, mind you, I have the speakers, so like you can hear me clearly. And I'm like, on your left, and he couldn't hear me, or he just wasn't paying attention. I was like, oh, I guess I'm going on your right. And his look of like, oh, of pure fear. And I was like, I'm sorry, like I'm a big fan. Like, sorry, I just scared the shit out of you. And I did a TikTok, and he ended up stitching it. And he's like, I was scared because I thought the Mandalorian was going to take my life. And like it's celebrities that like I grew up with. Like I don't care what you say or what you think about these celebrities. Like Joel McHale follows me. He is one of the most nicest, humblest men I've ever met in my life. Like first off, he's about a foot taller than you think he actually is. Okay, he's like 6'4", 6'5".
Wow.
I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like I'm just looking up to my dad. Like, hi, Dad, how are you? And like he couldn't have been nicer to me. Jack Quaid from The Boys, let me just say this right now. Every human being needs to be like Jack Quaid. And Jack, if you're watching this, thank you for what you did. So one of my foundlings that I made a helmet for, his dad made me my first action figure, which I wish I had right next to me. It's right over there. It comes with a little skateboard. It's the old Star Wars card back. You know, it has like Mando the Man-Child at the top. Like it was something cool that I got that like from him. Well, his son ended up having earring sarcoma, and he's not doing so well now, but he's a big fan of Underdecks, which Jack Quaid played one of the characters on. And I asked him at the line, I was like, I never ask celebrities for anything, but I'm like, this isn't for me, it's for him. And like Jack was like, say no more. Like I didn't even get halfway through it. I was like, it's a kid that I made a helmet for. He's like, say no more. He did one take, and then like at the end, he's like, oh, that was terrible. Let me do another one. Did another take, like took the time to bring a smile to a stranger's face. He's the type of human that we all need to be like. Let's just be honest right now. Plus, he's the type of celebrity that I want to be. You know, like he's an Oppenheimer. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a like I saw him in Oppenheimer. I'm like, then we can't talk about it on the set. I'm like, I liked you in the thing, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, I got you. But like then there's, you know, I got to meet Whoopi Goldberg follows me on Instagram too. Like her assistant was like, oh yeah, she loves your antics, because like the one video I did that like kind of shot me on TikTok was like I was really high. Like, I was like, what if Din was on a Tinder date and Boba Fett had to babysit Grogu, but he had too much sugar, and I'm behind my girlfriend while she's wearing the Boba Fett outfit, and I'm playing with spoons on his head to Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train, and like after it's like like it just goes ape shit on top of him, and like my phone, I've never really gone viral, but my phone was literally like having a seizure because I kept getting notifications because of shit. It ended up hitting like 5.6 million views, and like I had to shut my notifications off because I had thrown my phone across the room because at night it just took off. And I was like, all right, because also while doing this, like I wasn't gonna make a TikTok until my buddy was like, ESPN put you on their TikTok, and I was like, get the hell out of here. I was like, do they drug
Wow.
test? Yeah, I was like, do they drug test? Because I'm a fail right now. I'm just letting you know. Like, there's like a tribute video to Kobe. There's a video of me going down Lancashire like deuces in the middle of traffic doing 30 miles an hour. And then there's a video of LeBron. I was like, dude, I made it. Like, this is golden. Like, I made it. And like, there's been so many great moments. Like, I've even had like when I first started doing this. So like, since I made it with a BioShield, because I prayed for a Karen. Like as a stand-up comic, like you pray for Karens because it's just nothing but gold material. All right. So I'm shopping at the Burbank Whole Foods, fully dressed as Mando, fully head to toe, fully like everyone's like, wow, his parents grounded him a lot. I'm like, I entertained myself as a child. But like I finally had a Karen. She come up, she goes, that's a costume. You get out of here. I was like, well, I identify as Mandalorian under California law. You can't say shit to me. And she just started shaking, looking at me. And I was like, have a good day. Namaste. And I walked around here and she went to every employee and complained to every person. And I watched her. I only went in there for a yerba. Like that's the only reason why I stopped in there is for a yerba mate, the little energy drinks. And like she went up to every employee. Was like, there's some guy dressed like a Star Wars character. I was like, well, if you really wanted to piss me off, you should have said Star Trek because at least you're on genre, so I can't get too mad. Like, and then finally, like at the end, I was waiting in the garage underneath, and she comes out, and I was like, I wanted to thank you. She goes, why? I was like, because you wasted all of that negative energy on me, and it ain't gonna do a goddamn thing to my day other than make me happy. So have a good one. She just was like walking away, like, and I'm like that. You're never gonna forget me. Like you'll be at home washing dishes, won't you? But it's just like enjoy life. Like it's too short. Like I could go on the skateboard right now and get hit by a car and die. I mean, I've been hit 9 times. Like it's
Wow, you've been hit by cars 9 times.
I told you like my autobiography is gonna be amazing. All dressed as the Mandalorian.
Wow.
So like 5 of them were hit and runs. One of them the police are finally taking serious. But one time I had to call 911 and they're like, what are you wearing? And I went, this isn't a prank. I'm the guy that, and like she laughed. And I was like, I thought you guys, doctors and construction workers aren't supposed to break character. I'm like, oh, he's the idiot that dresses like the Mandalorian. And then like the police are like, we can't do anything. I'm like, it's a felony hit and run. Then the guy that hit me was so funny because he was like this big. He made Kevin Hart look tall. Like I was like, as he was going away, he threatened to kill me, but I was laughing because he was eye level with his Mercedes. I was like, I didn't know they put booster seats in Mercedes. And like as he's driving away, he's going like this. And I'm on the phone with 911. They're like, what's he doing? I was like, he's making his hands like a gun, but I hear pew, pew, because his hands are so tiny. I was like, hey, 1 inch lower, and he's probably legally a midget. Like, and he was just getting so mad. And I was like, don't forget your booster seat. And like the cops didn't do anything. Nothing. They showed up 30 minutes later and they're like, why didn't you detain him? And I was like, again, not Batman. Secondly, that's your job. Like, and they keep offering me jobs. I'm like, no, I don't know. No, I respect police. But with me, it doesn't matter if you have a badge, if you're a firefighter, if you're a person in the street. If you treat me with respect, I treat you with respect. Right. If I say hello to you and you don't say me back, I don't take it personally. I just go, they're probably having a day. But who knows? That little hello might brighten their day for the next person that they run into. Like, at least that guy wasn't a dick to me. Like, you know, you kind of have to think.
Tim, it's just you're always like, been cool, man. Like I always want to have you back. Like, as my platform continues to grow, I appreciate you for coming on.
Oh yeah.
What's next for you in your career?
Oh, the sky's the limit, man. Like I always joke, I'm like, I'm the most famous comic you haven't heard of yet. So, I mean, that's going to be my step into Hollywood because like, now I know I'm not some like hideous, ugly chud, but like, the all-American looks, the things that get you the auditions, that's not really my forte. My forte is the personality that I bring. Like I bring the funny, like I bring the, like, we were even shooting like a Star Wars fan film over the weekend. And we were up in like BFE in the mountains. And jokingly, I was just standing on the hill dressed as Mando. And they're like, Tim, you're in the back shot. I was like, fuck you. And I jump off the hill. And it's just that stupid laughter that you get on set that I bring. And like, it doesn't help. Like, it helps with being the comic because you have to be improv and be able to react to people from the crowd. And it helps you immensely for the acting world.
Man, that's dope. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No worries.
Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, like I said, invite me back. We can talk about anything. Verbal diarrhea. That's what I always say.
Where do people follow you on social media?
So on my Instagram, it's my name, just Tim_Brehmer, BREHMER, and as I'm shaking the camera. But my TikTok is Mando the Manchild. That's MANDO the THE Manchild. Mando the Manchild.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, man. Thank you.